Welcome to Sermons on the Side. I'm Brad.
And I'm Richard.
And life can move pretty fast, so we're here to slow down, dig deep, and find the story hidden in everyday moments.
With years spent in ministry, friendship, and navigating real life together, we're all about blending humor, honesty, and faith into conversations that meet you right where you are.
So whether you're brand new or you're back for more, we are so glad you are here.
So relax, listen in, and let's discover meaning together.
In the ordinary, the messy, and everything in between.
Sermons on the Side, finding meaning in the everyday.
Horrible at picking out my own clothes, but there are times. This is the worst one actually.
Okay,
it's
talk to me.
when it's like unprompted, like, "Whoa, is that what you're wearing?" For me, that is danger, Will Robinson. You are way off base. I'm not even fighting back. I'm
Right,
like,
okay.
Got it. 10-4, completely
Message
changing.
received.
But when I think of the situation and I'm kind of assessing what I'm wearing, and I'm like, I think I'm good. But I just need a quick smell check. So I go, not like a physical smell check, just like an actual, just like a quick pulse check.
See, I picture you.
Smell check. Hey, baby, check this out. In the words of our super fan, Austin Scott, it is Sermons on the Side Day.
Yeah. Woo! Come on, Austin. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for clicking on to this episode 24.
Oh, welcome everybody to episode 24.
Dude, we went to Panera Bread. We changed it up tonight.
We did.
We went to dinner and we went to
on.
Panera Bread. And dude,
What?
can we hold on for real? Can we just shout out
Please do.
the brand new location of Panera Bread in Midland,
Georgia.
Because two things. Number one, I come in my bebopping, bubbly self, 6'4", redheaded. I mean, you either love me or you hate me.
So the young lady behind the counter says, "How are
doing?"
you
Yeah,
doing?"
a very
and
just-
Brad just
I mean,
let fly.
can you imagine working in fast food and just asking like a very rhetorical, like,
Sure.
I have to be nice to you. How you doing?
Did you really want to?
And you get, I'm doing great. No. How are you doing? I mean, it was just
Exactly
so over the top.
how it went.
I was so excited to see Richard. And this manager comes out of nowhere. This is a true story. It's happened 45 minutes before recording this. And she goes, "Hey, I am so grateful for your positive energy. You're getting a free meal tonight." And she comped the whole thing.
Amazing.
And dude, we witnessed just a couple of really like not great interactions that customers
Yeah.
were being so mean and
Right.
left some of the employees in tears. And
Right.
we saw a lady like kind of pull one of the managers off and started praying with her. And it was just so sweet. And anyways, hey, shout out to Panera at
Yes.
Midland because you guys are awesome. I don't care
We love
what
y'all.
rude customers say about you guys, and we will be back. So there you have it.
We will, and we encourage all our Columbus listeners, check them out. And tell them Sermons on the Side sent you. They won't even,
They'd be like,
what does that mean?
They would get mad. They said,
Who are
"Get
you?"
out
Yeah,
of my
right,
store.
leave now.
Are you part of that crew? Get out, Dude, how much fun was the giveaway last week?
Oh, I just off the charts.
I mean-
man, we had so much interaction.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Everybody was so into it. Hey, I was giving you a hard time about your coffee choice.
Yeah, you
and I
were.
will say, I just got to be on record as saying that as the week went on, got a lot of support for that
Thank
Dunkin'
you very
Donuts
much.
coffee.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. But boy, I tell you, I had so much fun doing that. Thank y'all for interacting. We congratulate our winners. The big merch bundles went to Joel Walker up in Tennessee and Miss Heather Orenstein here in the Columbus, Georgia area. And then we did a few smaller giveaways. So you guys are, all of that, those winnings are going to be sent to you or brought to you, or we're arranging getting those into your hands. But man, so cool.
That's so awesome, man.
Yes.
And speaking of smaller giveaways, do you have?
Oh.
You had teased something last
Yes.
last week that there was going to be a small giveaway on this podcast.
See,
This
what
episode.
we're going to do is we're going to, just for the next couple of weeks, we got some smaller individual merch left over from our
love it.
merch giveaway week. And so we're going to do a giveaway
Here you
every
go.
week for the next just handful of episodes.
All right.
And so.
Let me get a drum roll, please.
Okay. Wait, before you do that,
Oh,
listen to
just
this.
broke the pen. I mean, if this was a video podcast, that would have been a
We
blooper.
would be in trouble.
All right.
But I have in my hand all the remaining entries, and we have pulled an entry out of the bag. And so this giveaway is going to be one of those journals. It's got a logo.
Very cool.
Sermons on the Side logo in the journal. And this is going to go to our listener named Ryan Brooks. Yeah, we love us some
go.
Ryan Brooks. Ryan is one of our awesome followers and listeners. He told us one time he found the podcast several months or a couple of months into after we had started.
Okay.
So he was like catching up.
Yeah.
And so for 2 weeks he was able to listen to an episode like almost every day or whenever he wanted to. And he came up to me. It was it's so encouraging. He was like, "Oh man, I love the podcast." And he goes, "But I'm gonna have a problem once I catch up, and I got to wait a whole week between episodes." So
That's right.
that really, man, you are awesome, Ryan, and you just got a little more awesomeness because when I see you next time I see you at church, I'm bringing you a journal with the Sermons on the Side.
That's so awesome,
Logo
man.
on it.
Well, congratulations. And wow. What else do you have over there, Richard?
We are sitting, as we said before, we're sitting on episode 24, meaning 1 week from right now is going to be episode 25. And what did we decide recently? That every fifth episode, something special is coming
Every
at you.
big round numbered episode, and hey, 5 is a big, kind of increment.
yeah,
And dude,
so
I'm stoked. I cannot wait. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm pumped about this episode, and
Absolutely.
I'm really excited to kind of dive into the Sermon on the Side. But dude, episode 25 is going to be awesome. We have such a special guest lined up. It is going to bless your socks off, and I'm so excited to bring this really awesome conversation that Richard
Yes.
and I had. And man, it's going to be cool.
Yeah, and is that all we're going to say? We're not going to say who. We're not
What
going to
or
say from
where.
our podcast guest next week is coming from. Yeah, let's
Let's
leave
just tease it
Leave
from there.
Just going to leave
And you
it
got
out
to come
there.
back next week for episode 25.
Come on.
That's so cool, man.
We don't, y'all. We don't went and got you a good one. We done
Went
got
and
you
got
a
you a
good
good
one.
one.
Hey, I just one more listener shout out. I'm shouting out to Trip Rogers and his wife Christine. Trip and Chris, we love you guys. Y'all are awesome. New listeners. Trip is good friend. We used to attend church together, and he's a great sound guy. And anyway, he recently found out about the podcast and was able to binge. In his words, over the last couple of weeks, he was on a couple of road trips and whatnot, and so he binged and caught all the way up. And so he texted me. I think it was Thursday or Friday of last week, and he was letting me know. And he and his wife Christine, they actually had finished catching up, going on a little couples weekend to Gatlinburg last weekend.
Please and thank you.
Oh man! But anyway, super encouraging. And this is what he said. And this is what we're hoping and praying that our stories will have a matter,
Sure,
and have an impact. And he was just real complimentary. And one of the things he said is, he said, this has pointed out to me that I need to slow down and start being more open to seeing Sermons in the Side in my own day-to-day life. How cool is that?
That's great,
right?
man.
And then the next day, while he and his wife are in Gatlinburg, they walk into a Christian bookstore. See, that still exists apparently in
I
Gatlinburg.
love it.
And he
Move
says,
to Gatlinburg.
soon as they walk in, suddenly the song starts playing. Chris Tomlin, "Our God,"
Whoa!
which is from the crowd noise episode.
That's right.
Just
episode
a few
21.
Weeks. Yeah,
That's exactly right.
And he called me in real time. He was like,
Put you on
"You're
speaker."
not gonna believe." Well, he wanted to. I missed the call. I felt
Dog.
like a slug.
You gotta make yourself available to the listeners, man.
It's pretty bad. I feel terrible about it. But anyway, so I called him right back, but the moment had passed.
Ugh.
But he wanted to. Anyway, I thought that was really
Moved
cool.
on to a Brandon Lake song. So.
Team Rogers, we love ya.
Awesome
love
stuff,
you guys.
man. Well, hey, in the spirit of shout outs, I just wanted to shout out 3 very special people. One of them, I only know one name, okay? But if you'll recall, several weeks ago, we sort of just kind of threw out there that we've got a buy us a coffee support page. And, we do a lot of brainstorming and planning and getting together midweek to kind of
Yes, we do,
brainstorm
man.
ideas and different things like that. And it's often over a cup of coffee.
Absolutely,
and so
yeah.
if you are enjoying this content and enjoying what we're doing and feel led to support us, we've made that available to you. So if you just go down into the show notes, kind of scroll down to the very bottom, there's a link to a website called Buy Me a Coffee, and it'll just redirect you. And there's been 3 people that have already been such a big blessing to us. 2 of them have remained anonymous.
Right.
One of them is our very own Jay Bishop, our guest from episode 10.
Yeah.
And just with a very generous donation. Man, we love you. We appreciate you. And for anybody that's considering or that ends up doing it, we are very, very gracious, grateful for you as well.
Just one option if you'd like to get involved.
No
and
pressure
help
at
them
all.
out.
We are going to continue to bring these every single Thursday.
Come on.
Richard,
Talk to me.
you got a sermon on the side over there for us, sir?
Matter of fact, I do.
Bring it on.
This sermon on the side happens. It revolves around a story that we find in the New Testament in Mark chapter 3. And at the time when the Lord kind of showed me this story, I was living in Birmingham, and it was on a Sunday morning. I was in a Starbucks, as I often am.
Yeah, okay.
And I was in a Starbucks before church. I called it my first service. I go before going to church. I'm sitting having a coffee.
I love it.
Got my journal out, going to read some scripture, just kind of get myself geared up for Sunday morning. And I read this story. Now, what I want to do is I want to read this quick story, and then I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit and tell you the kind of what led up the 20 minutes prior to me reading that story and how God ended up using this. Okay,
cool.
So in Mark chapter 3, we read in verses 1 through 5. It says, Jesus entered the synagogue, and a man was there with a withered hand. So apparently some condition that had seized up muscles and bones or whatever and joints. And so he's walking around his whole life, or for a while at least, with this gnarled hand. Stuck, can't get his hand straightened out. And the Pharisees watched Jesus to see whether Jesus would heal this man on the Sabbath so that they might accuse him. That's kind of that nasty thing that the religious leaders would do, trying to catch him breaking a rule. So, it's just pretty tacky, right?
Yeah.
This is an actual person with an actual problem, and they're just kind of use it as their little power play or whatever. Now, verse 3 said, and Jesus said to the man with the withered hand, come here. And then he said to them, the religious leaders, because he knew they were scheming.
Yeah.
He says, is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save life or to kill it? But they were silent because he was already kind of calling their nonsense. In verse 5, he looked around at them with anger. He's angry at the guys that have the bad attitude about this man and his problem. He looked around them with anger, and he was grieved at their hardness of heart. And then he said to the man, stretch out your hand. And he stretched out his hand, and suddenly it was restored. So Jesus healed him. So cool. All right.
So you're reading this in a Starbucks,
sipping the dark roast of the day.
Okay.
And I just go, whoa, this is a really intense story.
Yeah.
Now, here's what had happened on my way to Starbucks. I'm
That
driving.
day?
Yeah.
Okay.
20 minutes before I read this. Driving down I-65 south in Birmingham on my way to church. I'm out early. I got my Sunday clothes on. I'm in a great frame of mind, and I'm so ready for church. See, Sunday's the best day of the week, man.
Come on, yes,
you
it
don't
is.
understand what I'm
I
saying?
sure
And
do.
I was so feeling it. I can remember at that time of my life and on that day for sure. But that season of my life, man, I just lived for Sundays, man. Could not wait. Worked hard all week, of course. Just to get into the house of God, right? You get to sing with everybody.
Yep.
You're going to hear a sermon. You're going to get to see folks.
Yep.
You're going to get to go home and take a nap, which is what righteous people do on a Sunday afternoon. No, if you can.
If
right?
you can, dude, listen, those Sunday afternoon naps hit differently at our house.
Oh,
I'm
talk to
cursed
me.
to not nap. I can't nap. If I nap and then I wake up, I'm like, what decade is it? You know, I mean, I have no clue what's going on. But man, when that whole house gets quiet and kids and wife and dogs, they're all asleep, you're just like,
golly.
yeah. That afternoon nap on a Sunday.
But listen, Sundays was just everything for me.
That's right.
And at that time, I was just a few years, maybe a couple of years removed from getting divorced, and we're just still learning how family works in that new context, and I had distance between me and my kids, and I couldn't. It was a very hard time. I'm telling you, Sunday was the spiritual, mental, and even emotional sometimes oasis for me. And so I'm driving down to church that Sunday morning, bopping, just loving it, listening to some Christian worship music on the radio. And then a song comes on. All right, this is a Jesus song. I can't even remember what it was, but I remember that song comes on, and it's an old song we used to sing at the church I used to go to.
Okay, the one up in New York?
Right. Before everything went wrong.
Yeah.
Before the divorce. I was going to the same church, the same town as my kids every Sunday, and now everything was so different. And I don't even think it took very long into listening to that song. It just triggered my mind, right? And I started getting sad. And I went from totally popping, loving life to before I just went, I call it going dark in my mind. I get sad, depressed, anger.
Yep.
All the different waves, lonely, just the whole
sluggish,
thing.
Yeah.
And man, I'm telling you, when that happens, it sort of mucks up. It gets murky in my heart.
Yeah.
Because now I got all these different things going on, these memories and these regrets and shame and all of the stuff. And the song wasn't even over when I kind of snapped back into realizing, wow, I just went dark. And I remember I'm gripping the steering wheel really tight. Like now, I went from, I was playing drums on the steering wheel before. You know what I'm saying? Grooving, vibing.
It was a Chris Tomlin song.
Come on,
you were
I'm
just...
sure, right? But then I'm gripping it. And that grip represents how my heart tightened up. My spirit tightened up because of all the stuff that I was going through. And in my story, with my addiction journey and my recovery was just a couple years into my recovery, then I'm realizing, wow, this is a mess of my own making. This problem exists because of my choices. And you could not be farther from where I was like a minute and a half ago. Does that make sense?
Oh man, not only does it make sense, I resonate wholeheartedly with that because I'm just 5.5 years into my recovery journey, and there are still days where everything is going right. You are batting 1,000.
Right.
It is unbelievable. The blessings are flowing. You're getting phone calls from friends. Your kids are doing everything that you ask them to do with smiles on their face.
It's a miraculous day.
It is just a miracle. And then, like you said, there is just this out of left field trigger that it almost just removes all of those other things from your point of view.
It overshadows it all,
It
right?
overshadows it all, and it just is this weight that gets dropped right into your focus, whatever that is. Yeah, absolutely.
That was that moment for me.
Yeah.
Now, here's the interesting thing, and really is how this all ties together with that Bible story I read a minute ago.
Okay.
The first thought I had once I came to, realized, I need to relax here, try to release my grip on this steering wheel or breathe or whatever, just try to refocus. Here's the first thought I had. I've ruined my Sunday. Because it wasn't just another day, It's not like I was just going on the way to work. Man, I was going to worship. I was going to be with the people of God. I was going into the house of God. Man, this was my day.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this all week. And now I've ruined it because of, and I wasn't, and it was genuine, that thought, because of how ugly and messy my heart felt after 60 to 90 seconds of going dark on all these emotions. I've ruined my Sunday. And then I kind of shook it off.
Okay.
And I sort of settled on this thing. Like, you know what? Wait a second, Richard. It's okay. You know what? You're going to go down there. You're going to get your first service coffee at Starbucks. You're going to go to church. It's probably going to be a fine day. Probably won't be as good as it could have been if you had just kept your mind right. Yeah, you've knocked this Sunday down a few pegs, but go on, see it through. Walk it through. What's the worst that can happen? It'd probably be a decent day.
Lean into the struggle.
Yeah, it'd be a decent day. But in my mind, I was like, but maybe, hopefully next week I won't mess up. Maybe next week I won't mess up my Sunday, and it'll be one of them really good ones. So I just kind of resolved, let's just make the best of this. All right, so shake it off, feel a little better, get to the Starbucks. The dark roast makes everything better, right? So sit down, read this story. Now, as I was reading the story, obviously one of the big payoff is this guy gets his hand healed, obviously.
Right.
But the other big part of the story is these Pharisees, these religious leaders who are like, what's going to go on, man? We're going to catch him. We're going to catch Jesus doing something wrong. And I sat there and I read it, and I said to myself, I started chuckling to myself, thinking about the Pharisees, and I said, what losers. What absolute idiots. Jesus at church on church day, ready to heal somebody. And they're all worried about, you're not supposed to do that, because it's the Sabbath.
Right.
Why do they feel that way? Because they're so obsessive about that particular commandment, all the commandments, but that one big, where, man, you just do not mess with Saturday,
right. Yeah.
with Sabbath day. You do not mess with church day. It's got to be right. It's got to be worship. You cannot, and so, of course, they were clouded, and it was a big power play and a political thing for them. But I was laughing at them because they had totally missed the point of why Jesus was there in that worship gathering.
Come on.
Was to bring some healing.
I see where you're
to
coming.
some people that are messed up.
Yeah.
And all they're worried about is, it's not right, or you're not. It's not just so, or it doesn't line up. And I'm just chuckling at them, calling them losers. I think I actually journaled what losers. I think I wrote it down in my journal. What losers. And then it's as if I felt God saying to me, you remember just a few minutes ago, I-65 South. And then it hit me. I had gone Pharisee on myself.
Oh, wow.
Because I had said, I have ruined my Sunday. My whole Sunday is going to be off kilter. And then when I settled down, I was better. But it was still in my mind, it's not going to be like it could have been if I had kept it clean. If I had kept it clean but now I'm going in. I got that murky heart. But I'm going to still go. I'm going to still go. I'm sure it'll be fine. But I had Phariseed myself because I had started looking at myself going, look at that withered, shriveled up heart, that you're going to bring that up in God's house. You going really, Richard? You going to walk up in there with that? And God showed me that story so I could see myself in the man with the withered hand. And then I go, by the way, into church. So I have a great moment there at Starbucks where I realize, well, He's showing me Jesus came to that place, to that particular synagogue, and the whole end game was not to school the Pharisees, although that was a bonus because he did, and it freaked him out. But he went to that place for that guy, for that healing to take place. And I had so limited him, thinking, well, he can't go to me. I'm going to walk into Liberty Church, Birmingham, which is down there in South Birmingham, which is a killer church. You guys have got to check it. If you're in the Birmingham area, check them out because they're awesome.
Shout out.
That church.
Was that the church that I went?
Yes.
Yeah, shout out.
Pastor Bruce Terry and Jeff Allison, a great staff. My sister-in-law is a secretary there at that church. And they have literally carried me and my family through so much. But I had convinced myself that God's ability to show up and do something big in my life that day in that worship setting, it was somehow lessened because of what I had done, because of the mess I was bringing into the building. Talk to me.
Now I will say this, because I do have to give you props, because you are the king of looking beyond yourself and just pointing directly to God. Okay, that is one of the biggest traits that I admire about you. But when you look at this story, what does verse 5 say? You've got this massive interaction that Jesus is going to surgery on the Pharisees' hearts, right?
Yes.
And I'm imagining like this withered hand guy kind of being like a kid that goes and spends the nights at his buddy's house, and then like his buddy's parents get in a fight, They start yelling at each other back and forth. What's going on? And the parents are upset at each other.
Yeah.
And the dad just looks at him and says, get in the car, But that was a horrible analogy, by the way. But I'm imagining it arrives to verse 5.
Right.
And all of a sudden, God stops looking at the Pharisees and looks at the withered hand guy and goes, stretch out your hand. Now, it might not be with that much authority or that much like direction and bluntness, okay? But he had to stretch out his hand.
That was the thing.
You had to go to church. You had to allow yourself to get to that place where you say, hey, I don't fully understand the fact that I can be this messed up emotionally about this little I-65 car ride. But Lord, I'm going to stretch out my withered heart. And you did.
Gosh, man.
And he did. And the power is not in that, but the trust is in that. The power is from the Lord. And so I got to give you credit, good, man. I got to give you props.
Man, that is good. And that, the thing that happened that day and how God spoke to me and just really comforted me and brought the right thinking to me, that is beautiful. I love the way you said that, and I hadn't thought of it that way, but I do remember now that I recognize that I have a tendency whenever I'm thinking about my shame or my regrets or failures over the years, my gratitude for God's forgiveness and His grace. There can still be a little part of me that says, "Boy, I'm just glad they let me in the building." Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna sit on this back row, and I'm just gonna enjoy myself and thank the Lord that He didn't kick me out of here. And yet, Jesus that's not enough for he doesn't just let us in the building. He brings us to the front. This story is told in a couple of other gospels, and in one of them it says he called the man in front. He called the man to come out and stand up front in front of everybody. And then he said those words, stretch out your hand. And I thought, it's become a thing for me, and it's really the point of the Sermon on the Side. And I'm hoping everybody will consider this, who's listening to it. Let's keep an eye on our hearts and how easy it is for us to withhold or to kind of conceal our witheredness. Whatever it is that is mangled up about me. And or shriveled up, or whatever that looked like, the withered hand looked like, whatever it is, to the point you were making before, am I going to take in every opportunity I can to bring that to the Lord and say, Lord, here it is. I mean, these may be my 4 favorite words in Scripture. I'm not trying to be over dramatic.
Whoa.
But the story of my life, man, with God, is Him saying, stretch out your hand. Stretch it out, man. It's as if Jesus could say something to me almost every day. And I think what He wants to say to our listeners right now,
come on,
He wants to say, this is why I'm here. I'm here for that. I'm here to do that with you. So whatever's withered, mangled, twisted up, stretch it out. Bring it.
Yeah.
Bring it. I mean, and I have this ton of excuses that I make where I will go, but look, this is my own fault. It's my own fault. What does Jesus say to that?
Stretch out your hand.
What if I say, but I don't, it's like I almost deserve this. I did this to it's like it serves me right.
Stretch out your hand.
Yeah.
What about my fear?
Stretch out your hand. It's just whatever, when there's that moment where we could think of a ton of excuses. What if it doesn't work out?
Yeah.
What if I'm not, what if I can't handle it? Sometimes I get so wrapped up in my identity as this twistedness.
Yeah.
What if that twisted, who am I if I'm not twisted?
That makes sense.
And to all of it, Jesus is saying, stretch out your hand.
Stretch it out.
Stretch out your hand. And so
come to the front.
Yes.
In front of everyone. And stretch out your hand.
Mm-hmm. That's big.
The invitation to come and to stretch out your hand. It's one thing
Brad,
to kind of be just driving down I-65 and be like, all right, Lord, I'll stretch out my hand. And it's a whole nother thing to do the work, to go to church, go down front, And I'm just Pentecostal enough to think Jesus is actually talking about going down front.
To the front.
And going
right?
to the front in front of everybody. I'm just being
Yes.
honest. Can I be real for a second? I think the Lord
Sometimes,
honors the physical response of obedience. I think He is knocking on the door of some hearts right now. And yes, it is a spiritual and emotional and mental invitation to stretch out that thing that's holding us back. But it is a physical invitation as well. What is it that we have to step into, to step up to, and to join Jesus at the front and then stretch out that withered thing that we think is so ugly, is so defining, is so defiling, that unqualifies us from talking to God. And Jesus is looking past that.
Yeah, He is.
In spite of and because of.
Yeah.
And inviting us to stretch it out.
Oh, bro, you got me. You kind of got me there, boss. But that is so it. And I hope we can all hear that statement from the Lord. And I hope we can respond. So thank you to everybody for going on that quick little journey with us, and let's dare to accept that invitation to come to Him, and then stretch out our hand. Woo! Thank you, Lord. Stop it.
Wow.
Goodness gracious, God is good, bro.
We are going to give these people whiplash one of these days.
Yeah, we
now
are.
Going from that to a segment. But here we are.
Just got to. Hey, listen, thank y'all for
withered hand segments.
This is might be the most withered part of our episodes. I don't know.
The Lord's asking us to stretch out our segments and to give it to Him. Okay, all right. I'm sorry.
All right. Hey, listen. I just want to ask you this segment. I'm not sure how what we can classify this as, but I'm really just wanting to ask you if you ever been in these kind of situations before. Some good friends of ours were spending some time with us this past weekend, and we were going out to dinner, and we were all getting ready to load up and go out to dinner, and so you know this couple, Scotty and Sandy Scott.
Oh,
awesome
Scotty
folks.
Scott,
Scott, Miss Sandra Marie, we call.
They're
but
awesome.
Anyway, we're all ready to go. We're standing there. Scotty is standing near the door. And Sandy does this thing, and she asks him a question. And I want to see if you've ever, and this happens in couple life, and it sometimes happens, with children and their parents or whatever, friends.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, it's tough. So the question is, have you ever been in this situation? And if so, what did you do? Sandy looks up at Scotty, and she asks him a question. She goes, is that what you're wearing? Oh man!
Not anymore. This is what I'm wearing to the bedroom to go change my outfit? Oh,
what do you? That is a no-win situation there.
Okay, two things. Number one, I got to give props to Miss Sandy. Okay, because there is something to be said about being honest with your spouse. I don't want you looking like that out in public.
Right,
you're representing the both of us. The second thing is props to Scotty because I didn't get a report from the weekend that says that it went to kaput. So he clearly responded better than I would.
Worked it out.
Dude, the worst. Do
you ever clap back in that situation? I mean, it's tough. It's a hard moment.
I don't think that because I mean, you can ask my wife. I'm horrible at picking out my own clothes, but there are times. This is the worst one actually.
Okay,
it's when it's like unprompted. Like, whoa, is that what you're wearing? For me, that is danger, Will Robinson. You are way off base. I'm not even fighting back. I'm okay, got it. 10-4, completely
Message
changing.
Received.
But when I think of the situation and I'm kind of assessing what I'm wearing, and I'm like, I think I'm good. But I just need a quick smell check. So I go, not like a physical smell check, just like an actual, just like a quick pulse check.
See, I picture you.
Smell check. Hey, baby, check this out.
We've lost the room. It's gone.
It was lost. Okay. The worst thing about that is when I'm like, hey, is what I'm wearing okay? What's gotten to me to that point is for me saying yes. And if she looks at me and goes, no, then I will clap back and be like, well, what's wrong with what I'm wearing? I said, Brad, we're going to a funeral and you're wearing flip-flops. Like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, oh my word.
Wow.
That might have been the most laughing that we have done in a single episode. I mean, that was like 10 seconds of laughing.
Just nothing but I couldn't. I'm trying to grab the reins, laying on like a cowboy in an old western, and the covered wagons going over the cliff.
The smell check for changing clothes. Anyways, there you have it.
They trust us. People trust us with microphones, Brad, and this is what happens.
We're trained professionals.
Hey, listen.
No, we're not.
Ooh.
But hey, I don't even know how we recover this.
Yeah, like how do you, there's nowhere to go from here. But I will say this, our listeners are awesome. Thank you for listening with us. Thank you for laughing with us. And we are pumped to be a part of this community. So appreciate all the support and can't wait to talk to y'all next Thursday, 1 week from today, with a very special episode 25. Thank you guys again.
See you next week. The smell check. Oh.
That was just an organic moment right there.
Hey, baby, will you smell this for me?
Oh gosh, man. Whew.
We gotta stop.
You know,